time to shift gears and explore a space that touches us all. What we eat, what we sip, and how we consume. Welcome to session 5 of the day, Taste Like the Future, where we dive into how the food and beverage industry is evolving to meet the demands of a new age consumer looking for experience, functionality, and meaning in every bite and bottle. From mindful indulgence to functional formats, from clean labels to smart packaging. This session is all about what it takes to create F&B products that are not only better for you, but irresistible too. Let's meet the taste makers shaping the next wave. Please welcome a moderator for this session, none other than Ashwin Bhadri, founder and CEO, Equinox Labs. A huge round of applause for him, please. A leading voice in food safety, regulatory clarity, and F&B innovation in India. Thank you, Ashwin, for being here with us. Joining him on stage, we have Gaurav Palrecha, Director, Madamix. Can we have a huge round of applause, please? I can't hear the claps, come on. Joining them, we have Jovita Mascarenas, founder, Bartisans. Huge round of applause to Jovita. Joining them, we have Jash Shah, founder and CEO of Getaway. They're not going to come on stage if we don't clap. Next, we have Kinnari Gosrani Shah, Director at Organico Agro Foods and Beverages Private Limited. Then we have Shrijit Mulayal, co-founder at True Elements. Next, we have Siddharth Rustagi, co-founder, InnoBev Solutions. A warm welcome to our entire panelist. Ashwin, over to you.
Thank you so much. This is on? I think this should work. Can you guys hear me with this? This works? Perfect. Whenever we talk about business, whenever we talk about scaling, I think one thing that is completely not negotiable is innovation. Right? I work with a lot of food founders, I work with a lot of food companies, and the companies that scale are the companies that keep innovating, right? And today a lot of innovation when it comes to food revolves around lifestyle, right? So that's the topic of our day today. So I'm going to start jumping in. Siddharth, this question is going to be for you, right? Today the consumer lifestyles are shifting pretty quickly, right? So how do you anticipate and respond to such a fast-paced pace of change?
There are various factors that are responsible for this. One is digital awareness, rising aspirations, one of them, and there are many more. So there are many more. Two of them is basically aspirations and the digital awareness. That's what is keeping innovation as phase. What has led to this is that while innovating, we need to innovate fast. Either we fail fast or we learn fast. We need to close the loop fast. And innovation doesn't mean changing the flavors. It means that we need to adapt to regional recipes, making them scalable with natural ingredients, transparent, and sometimes simplifying a complicated formulation with simpler ingredients so that a consumer can understand it better. So that's what it is.
Jovita, you also at Bartisans, innovation has been at core, and I've seen you right from the beginning to where you guys have reached today. I would love to understand, how are you looking at innovation, and sometimes you're creating a new product category as well. So I would love to understand your take on this.
So for us, I think innovation just stems from listening to our customers. We keep a very close ear to the ground. We hear what people have to say. I think one of the things that I've learned as a founder over the years is to be in touch with my customer. So, even today I do a lot of my customer service myself. So you'll see me answering messages, you'll see me picking up the calls, simply because I'm able to then understand what my customer wants. Give you an example, we did a 4-serve for a very long time, at least for 4 years, we've done a 4-serve bottle, and people were constantly like, hey, listen, the bottle's not getting over, we have to keep it in the fridge, the bottle's too big. So the minute you're listening to all of this and that noise is loud enough, you're able to then, so we now innovated into a 2-serve bottle, much more easier to use, it's quicker. We've seen our customer move from just hosting to now having like a chilled out Wednesday night at home, just a me night kind of thing as well, right? So I think for us, innovation is driven by our consumer.
So, whenever I have looked at innovation, I think there are two ways to innovate. One is from inward, and second is outward. Nothing beats asking a customer, what they want. So, there's one thing that I've done, which I think 90% of the new things that we've done at Equinox has come from this one question. At the end of any meeting, whenever I meet a client, I ask them, what else is troubling you? Just this one line, what else is troubling you? Not what we can do differently, what else is troubling you? Half the verticals today, 90% of innovation has come from when customers answer this thing, right? Like earlier, we used to only do testing. So when I used to ask people, hey, what else is troubling? They're like, oh, we have all these vendors and nobody's maintaining, I wish there was an auditing company that could help us. We started auditing. Same way we started so many other verticals. So it becomes crucial. But two, sometimes you have to be a little ahead of the curve. So that's where the inward innovation comes, where internally we ask all our stakeholders to create new concepts, new ideas, and keep trying. So I liked what Siddharth mentioned, like we fail fast. So at Equinox we have a concept called fail forward fast. If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying out new things. If you're not trying out new things, you're not taking risks. If you're not taking risks, you are now following the pack, you're not leading the pack, right? I'm going to stay on the topic of innovation a little longer, right? So Josh, this one is for you. What does meaningful innovation look like to you in terms of ingredients, packaging, distribution, anything else? How do you look at it?
Sure. I think for us, especially when we started, it started with a simple idea that can we add whey protein to ice cream and make a decent protein ice cream, right? So ingredients definitely. Distribution too, and I think there's no one single answer, but you can innovate in the littlest way in each and everything that you just mentioned. Like with distribution, I remember first couple of years when we were selling ice creams through stores like Nature's Basket or like supermarkets. COVID hit, everything went to a standstill, and we had to innovate our distribution. And when we did that, we realized, why can't we sell ice cream on Swiggy and Zomato through a dark store? So I feel innovation can come in every aspect, every form in which you're operating. You just need to look closely. Like Jovita said, listen to the customer, be very close to your customer always, and all those answers will come in. Like even, I think for us on Blinkit, we didn't get space to add an ice cream cake because it's too big to fit in a freezer. We spoke to our customers, the soft insight was that people don't want to order an ice cream cake because it's too large to eat. So we said, why don't we do a ice cream pastry, which is a single serve version. Right now it's the best seller for us. So I feel it's a function of a lot of these things, and there's no one big thing that you can do to innovate. There's little small things which kind of eventually become innovation for you.
Love it. Gaurav, the same one for you. At Madmix, you've almost pioneered a new category. What was that journey for you? What did you look at from a perspective of ingredients, packaging? I would love your thoughts.
So when we enter a snack category, it's already really crowded. You go to a shelf, you go on Quick.com, you'll find hundreds and hundreds of other brands out there. So for us, we had two directions that we had to take. One, what innovation can we do in our product? It might be baked, but there are other baked brands. But then comes seasoning. And then comes packaging. So that's where we try to be a little bold in terms of ensuring that the packaging is a little Instagrammable. They're bold. The colors are appealing to the youth, who's my major target audience today. And in terms of flavor, we, as you rightly said, that we heard the customer, what they want. So if the youth is my audience and say at 3 o'clock they want to eat something snacky, we can offer them a baked bhujia, but not just a masala bhujia, we added a little Maggi flavor to it, something that they relate to. Say someone after a meal wants to eat a pan, but going down, having that unhygienic form didn't work out. That's where we came up with our pan raisins. Color-free, sugar-free, just you pop a bite and it'll give you a burst of pan. So that helped us in product perspective. In distribution, we always wanted to be away. It was a new brand, we didn't have enough funds to pay for listing fees or marketing budgets, etc. That's where we got into our alternate channel distribution, focusing on avenues where we can liquidate our shelves, say within 48 hours or 72 hours, and ensuring that we are literally within 2 to 5 minutes reach of our consumer. And that changed our journey over the last 12 to 15 months.
Nice. Um, Kinneri, this one's going to be for you. Today, in the new age of beverages, there's so many choices available. There are a lot of brands today depend on third-party manufacturers, right? So how can third-party manufacturers and that entire industry that supplies equipments and services them or sets up plants, how are they keeping up with the pace of innovation?
So I think it's a two-way street. So just to give you context, we are a third-party manufacturer. We are also an innovation lab. We're also a supplier of machinery, like entire beverage and dairy plants for the past 40 years. So I have customers who've had extremely wacky ideas. Oh, I'm sure he's also faced it, glass bottle, but with this specific cap that I saw somewhere in Ukraine or whatever. And I was like, but do you see the operational feasibility of it? And do you see Indian consumers picking up those volumes? So when I counter question that, I try to bring in a balance between that innovative, wacky idea with an operational feasibility, because that is imperative. And when it comes to ensuring third-party manufacturers, I mean, we have a huge network of plants that we have supplied that we can leverage. What really is essential is that as long as the process is robust, it is possible. It is possible to scale. It is possible to innovate. It is possible to move ahead. And yeah, like it's not only an idea. It has to be operationally feasible.
Nice. Shriji, the next one is for you. Can you share one product or process innovation that your brand did, right, that reflects today's evolving habits? And when you launched this, how was the market response?
Yeah, so connecting to the earlier, so all the innovations may not come from a consumer, okay? So some of the innovations, or at least in the startup world, innovations are some gutsy move by one of the brands. So one which we did way in 2018, 2019. So we are a clean label brand, so sugar is no-go for us because it's a processed sweetener, not that sugar is a villain. So we were looking at fruit for our muesli. The only thing which available in the market was candied fruit, which comes with ascorbic acid and sugar and all those. So what else can we put? So 2018, all Kellogg's, everybody was using only that much. And the only alternate option was freeze-dried fruits. We were the first one to get in muesli category. Not that we saw that Kellogg's had already done that in the US, but not in India, because in India we never asked for it, right? So we wanted a sugar-free muesli without ascorbic acid. So we got freeze-dried. Obviously, it was expensive. And we thought, I don't know how long we'll be able to sustain that. Now looking back, everybody in the market selling muesli has freeze-dried fruits, right? So that was not an innovation customers asked for, right? That was an innovation we thought we need to put it because we are a clean label brand, we can't have sugar. And so what I'm trying to tell is not everything will come from consumers, something, but again, 99% of those fail. I will have a list of failures which you have done of non-called innovations. Yeah, so
I love that you touched upon failures, right? So I think, I know I've not asked this, I've not even prepped you guys for any of these questions. Does anyone want to talk about a failure that they had?
So many.
I'll give you my patented
How
failure.
long do you have?
Patented failure. We have a patent, I have a patent
Nice.
on a product which
Love
is
it.
actually inspired by anybody, most of you from Maharashtra, you would know. Jowar is bakri. The bakri from the day before is actually put in milk and had in the breakfast.
Correct.
Okay, so before this, we used to run an e-commerce platform called healthyworld.in. So one of the biggest seller was Vitabix, which is a wheat-based, right? So, and when we were working with Jowar, Jowar se kuch banate hain. Yeah, we made a Jowar Bix. We made a Jowar Bix which only had one ingredient, only Jowar. Even the sweetener is nectar from the Jowar plant. It's a patented product. Okay, we got a lot of PR for that product. Got a patent. Customers never touched it. We named it thrice. We changed the packaging twice. Now it's there on the shelf only to get awards. So yeah. So innovations, well, not all innovations wacky will work. So
Absolutely. Jovita, you wanted to share
Oh, a lovely one. I have a lovely one. Okay. So this Holi, we decided that we will do Thandai mixer. Okay. We are a cocktail mixer brand. So Holi, log peete hain, so of course they'll have Thandai, right? Then we are thinking, okay, we are a cocktail mixer. So as a cocktail, you want to have your sugar and your lime balance We don't use dairy, so our thandai didn't have milk. We used coconut milk instead. And the minute, I mean, when we tasted it, at least for somebody who drinks cocktails and, you know, who innovates in cocktails, I thought it was amazing. And we put it out there. And the insane amount of pushback that we got, because number one, people don't read the label to see it's coconut milk, they think it's coconut. I mean, they think it's milk. Secondly, it's got lime in it, so it's tasting thoda khatta. So ye kharab hai. Right? And you've called it thandai. So if you've called it thandai, why aren't you giving it the real thandai? I mean, just horrible. It was like, it felt so bad. Like, yeah, but you deal with it, you move on. I'm never doing a thandai mixer again. I should have done that.
Or maybe rename it to not a thandai.
Not
Not
a
a
thandai.
thandai.
That would have worked.
Nice.
Like somebody does not a bloody
Something.
Mary or something.
No, I know.
I love
It's a
the brand
wellness
idea.
brand. No, it's a personal brand, not a dry shampoo. I think that's what.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So,
Gaurav?
but Srijit, I agree with you. We also, when we started our journey, we launched our first brand was called Daily Staple. And we launched with a bread premix and multigrain flour mix for which we applied a patent. And beautiful product, like no additives, no preservatives. You can bake a bread at home in like less than 20 minutes with one equipment. We really thought we cracked it with calories, 20 calories per slice. And then we realized that Indians don't have the patience to bake their own bread at home. So after we started selling, some of them started calling back saying that, ये छोटा क्यों है size में और ये white color क्यों नहीं आ रहा, even though it was a jawar ragi or a jawar singara bread. Over time, we realized that it's better to stick to what is selling in the market.
I love the fact that today people are willing to talk about failures, and I think it's really important that everyone understands that failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of it, right? When the pandemic began, I'm sitting at home and I get this brainchild that, everyone will want to improve their hygiene, will want to monitor it remotely. So I sit with my tech team and we create this product. We sink in lakhs, like almost close to 30 lakh rupees in creating a new product. I spend another 20 lakh rupees promoting it. 3 customers bought it. It was like a massive, massive public failure. By the same time, while we were innovating this, we created another product. It was called Nutripedia, which does recipe calculations. I spent less than 50,000 making that product. That one calculator has made us, I don't even know how many X return. Let me put it in some context. We processed 7 lakh recipes through that calculator. It is the biggest calculator that's being used by Swiggy's and the Zomatos and all the hotel chains. 7 lakh recipes. Whatever I've lost in that first innovation and 10 other innovations, I've made 10x of that. The reason I'm sharing this, the failure and success, is because be okay to fail, right? Most of us don't like to talk about failures. Because we don't like to talk about failures, our teammates don't like talking about failures, they don't take risks. Your teams don't take risks, you don't take risks, because failure has always been like this bad thing right from our school days. But in business, it is perfectly fine to fail. Because if you want to grow faster, you have to learn to fail faster, right? Okay, we're going to shift gears a little bit. We're going to talk about clean label, right? Siddharth, let me start with you. As a clean label certified product brand, how do you ensure transparency and traceability?
See, in a food product, transparency and traceability both go hand in hand. Traceability starts from sourcing of the raw materials, from where you are buying it, what you are buying it, and how much you are buying it. And traceability is accounting like when you are blending something into a recipe, how you are tracing it back. So it's very important. It's the basic DNA if you're getting into a food and beverage business or you're designing something new. The traceability starts from the bottom of it. And it's also important that what kind of suppliers you are interacting with, whether your ethos are matching with them or not, whether you have some set. Ethical values also play a very important role in it. Because these days we see a lot of brands juggling around with names, and I was giving an example when we were chatting that people call it stevia rather than mentioning it as INS 960, giving it a more clean label appeal. Actually, it's not. And that's happened in the case of stabilizers as well. And the apple juice example that we were discussing in the green room, that people make it no added sugar with a DI apple juice and then goes hand in hand. So there needs to be a lot of awareness that needs to be created about creating a clean label product. And it's not just about putting it on the label. It's about establishing that trust with your consumers, that they can trust your brand. So it's a whole circle that needs to be completed
Nice.
in a much more
Gaurav,
ethical
what are your thoughts on clean label brands in the country?
I mean, the youth of today's youth is really woke. They care about what they're consuming, how they're consuming. We've seen alcohol reduction over time. Not for
Not a fact.
Not a fact.
but in the sense, not like they would rather enjoy drinking a good cocktail or something rather than going with shots. That's what I try to mean.
Good save.
I
good save.
agree. I agree. Good save. Good save.
But so yeah, that really matters. And for that, at Madmix, what we're trying to develop is down the road, trying to have a QR code behind in which an end consumer can scan the code and see from which batch where the millets were sourced. And because transparency is trust, and as long as we can win someone's trust, we know that we have the customer's loyalty over them. So that's what we're trying to develop in-house down the road.
Srijit, in a cluttered snacking space, right, what does innovation look like in terms of a product format, flavor? What does that look like?
Actually, snacking is one category where I don't think too many innovation has not worked out. Everybody's trying. We have tried. We have been trying since 2017. So we are breakfast and snacks. We tried in all format. Seeds को coat किया, seeds को bake किया, seeds को चूरन किया, सब किया. कुछ भी नहीं चला. So I think fundamentally when it comes to Indian market, some basic flavors works throughout the year and throughout thing, and there are some sporadic successes for, like for example, peri peri is working for some categories, not everywhere. Now everybody puts peri peri, it goes, right? So our learning has been that if you just build brand on trends, it may not last, right? So you need to have a core product which is built over a long period of time, while a small quick commerce helps us there. For example, now for just we can launch a product only for let's say Holi, right? So only Thandai, right? So we can do that with quick commerce. There could be snacks, bhujia only for during that time. So we could do that, and then because otherwise you can't, we are not been able to sustain that, right? So what we do is we have a mix base seed mixes, 7-in-1, 5-in-1, 9-in-1, and then in between we have occasion-wise snacks. Okay, we have got probably couple of successes of 20-30 launches. We still have not figured out, and I think in snacks everybody is figuring it out, is what I would put it.
Can I add in something here?
Yeah, of course.
So I think with the Indian consumer, and this is what we've realized, is familiarity is very important. I don't think we can change people's habits. So what we do generally is we do a mixer called Indian Summer, which is mango. So we use Alfonso mango, and we use cilantro and bird's eye chili with it. So I think there's that familiar thing which the consumer can kind of latch on to, and then there's that little bit of an innovative twist to it. It's like, oh, अच्छा मैंने इसको कोथमीर के साथ कभी नहीं खाया, like पिया है type. So what would this taste like? So they're willing to kind of give you that little bit of a chance to try it. But otherwise, if you're trying to change people's habits, tastes in this country, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's damn tough.
Josh, the next one's for you, right? When you're creating functional products which are also indulgent, how are you dealing with the supply chain challenges and supply chain changes?
Yeah, I think hearing that question just rings that bell in my head. We don't make ice creams with sugar, right? So it tends to melt faster. And I get it. My team gets it. But do vendors get it? Do your third-party transporters get it? Does the aggregator get it? So I think there is enough. I mean, we've made that mistake where we've expanded a lot. We've gone to 20 cities. But just earlier this year, we said this summer we're only going to focus on 5 cities. And I feel when you're trying to do one thing at a time, you're naturally doing it better, right? And during this summer, we realized that we are not even ready to go to 15 cities. So why do we even think of so much? But there's so much to fix on supply chain. But one small example I'll give you is we started off with one central manufacturing in Bombay, and we are trying to send product across the country. Realizing the scale, etc., and how difficult the cold chain supply network is in India. Although it's evolving 5 years late, before you would have asked me, there was nothing. we set up another plant just because it was closer to the market, which is in Delhi now. And now a third plant which is coming up in Bangalore. So I feel it's not just, again, one thing that you have to do, you have to figure out the entire journey, map it out. But what I've learned is if you go slow, if you learn each and everything as a process, scaling can happen faster later.
I'm a very big promoter of like something I really learned over the last 20 years is how to scale, like different businesses, my own, other people's. When you start a business, it's very people centric, right? But if you want to scale a business, it has to be process centric. So when I was talking to somebody and they said, hey, but if you make it so process centric, aren't people adding value? I was like, no, people are adding value. They are the ones making the processes, right? Processes amplify people. It should not be the other way around. People will set up processes, or many a times the founders and the founding teams that sets up processes, but it is finally, companies are run by people, they're not run by machines. But when you create processes, when you invest time in processes, allows you to scale, allows people to do more. What otherwise would have taken people, one person can do it more effectively. That's when you set up good processes. My next question is going to be open to all of you, so any of you can kind of jump in, right? So as lifestyle evolves, there is a balance between speed to market, innovation, while maintaining quality. What are your thoughts on that? How are you guys tackling that? Because you have to, you figure out a new trend or you figure out a new, insight. How are you getting to market faster, or that's not a concern for you guys? Anyone wants to take a stab? Yeah.
If I can add,
Yes.
speed to market is important, but not at the cost of the quality, not at the cost of the stability of the product. And while a lot of customers come to us saying, oh, I want this product and I want to launch it 2 months, in 2 months, mujhe market mein leke jana hai product ko. And I'm like, my question to them is, what is more important to you? Is speed more important to you? You want to get the product to the market and then want the customers to send back the product to you? Or do you want to ensure that what you send in the market is absolutely, absolutely foolproof? So that balance is extremely important. While when it came to Fasten Up, we did that. We did bring the hydration drink, in the RTD format in 30 days. But that's because we worked in tandem with them and they were very sure of what they were doing. We were sure of what we were doing. We came from the process side. And we have one rule at Organico. We do not send a product out if it is not it's not vetted for process feasibility. It's a technical term, but your thermal compatibility, and also it needs to be vetted in terms of regulations. So as long as like you said, process. As long as your processes are right and you follow each steps, we have helped customers save almost 70% of their initial investments, which they would otherwise do with other people, because we know how critical a right process is there, how critical vendor selection is there, how important it is to ensure, sorry, I'm repeating it, the process is so robust that we end up avoiding those bottlenecks and unnecessary errors.
So I will differ here, being a startup. Okay, so in our case, what we believe the fastest product launch we have done from idea to launch is 4 days.
Wow.
Okay. So, and I'll do one more example, very recent one. So there was an account manager meeting happening with Blinkit. So the guy the other side told that summer is coming. The Sattu is such a boring category. Can we do some innovation there? So we have this, every year we get bunch of food tech interns and put them on internship. So we had a couple of years back put some Sattu based shakes, okay, which was done probably 2-3 years back. So just picked up the formulation. This happened on a Friday in Delhi. Our account manager told, the Blinkit team is telling, why can we look at some innovation around Sattu? We had something which was developed but never launched in market. Over the Saturday, NPD team mixed it, sent a blue dart. Tuesday it was delivered. He was floored. Thursday, Friday was, let's launch, give me 5,000 pieces. Now why I'm telling, now if we wouldn't have moved that, I'm sure he would have given the same message to another 4, let's say, our peers, Yoga Bar, Whole Truth, Soulful, who moves fast, get the pie. But I agree, not at the cost of
No, but
health.
in your case, you were able to do that because you had vetted it before. Recipe
Vetted
ready.
is not like the conventional wedding of testing.
No. Matlab, फिर भी, 80%
हम क्या
तो ready
करते
था ना
हैं
ढांचा.
हम क्या करते हैं ingredients what we use
हाँ.
we are 100% sure this is a regular
Whatever.
ingredient.
Wet it can be your internal Q. I mean, whatever QA and whatever quality assurance testing that you do. But it was wetted. My point is that wetting is important. The same thing happened with Fast Enough. That they were sure of their ingredients, we were sure of our process, which is why speed to market was fast. But it's a balance.
Yes, Siddharth.
I agree with Kenari that processes are important, but looking at today's dynamics, on your first question coming back, speed is also important because consumer behaviors are rapidly changing. So at InnoBev, we work at modular recipes and modular processes. So you can plug and play around it. So we have design matrices where we can get the shelf life derived, that if you are changing that ingredient, if you are changing that process parameters, what will be the impact on it? And I'll tell you, one of the top 3 alcohol companies came to us 3 years back in the month of August. We wanted bringing our own product from a different customer that we want to launch this. Can you mimic this? And me and Tanu laughed that we can. So they said that either you don't have the capability, when it's our product, but we don't come on the label because we don't own the manufacturing. So they said, then give us the same product. As an ethical practice, we don't supply same product to 2 different people. And they said that no matter what, we want to launch it in December. We are in August. You need to pass through all the global protocols. Being number 2 alcohol company of the globe, you need to go through vendor audits, quality audits. And that's where these modular processes and modular recipes comes into play, that you complete the product development cycle, as Srijit said, in 4 days. Sit in their office, they sit in your office, do an industrial trial, run microbiology validation, and you are done and dusted and launch the product within 4 months in beverage. We have done it in 6 weeks after that, but
Nice.
everything needs to be validated through.
So I think as the main thing, you have to somewhere have a balance, right? So for example, you'll never see somebody like a Coca-Cola launching a product in 60 days or 90 days, or they would take 1 year, 2 years. But that's because they're a giant. When you're a startup, when you're smaller, use that agility, right? Do not act like a behemoth. Use the agility of being a smaller company, because sometimes speed of innovation matters, right? When you innovate and when you are first to market, you have a significant advantage over others. Another, and I'll open this up to you guys as well. What are your thoughts on people copying you? Like, you've done something for the first time and then somebody copies you, right? Same concept. What are your thoughts on this, Josh?
I love copycats. I mean, I'm very honest. I love copycats. It means you did something right. If someone's copying you, you've done something right. You still have first mover advantage. People will still say, "Arey, ye to Bartisans bhi karta tha." So it doesn't matter. I love them. I don't know what you guys.
Anyone?
I agree
So
with
one line which answers this, Jack Welch, don't reinvent the wheel. किसी ने अच्छा किया है, as long as you acknowledge it. No, we also copy, we also get copied, right? So what we tell is, in food in India, protecting your IP, protecting everything is going to be very expensive. So what you have is, you launch a product, you have 6 months before somebody starts picking it up. Okay, so build that. It's okay. We are anyway not fighting with startups. We are fighting with the giants, right? So as long as category is growing, you are taking share of the giant, it's fine, right? But I'll tell you another connecting example. So we were the first company to have the traceability of each product available in the pack. You scan the QR code, you can get the source of which farm that ingredient came in from. So I'm not a food guy. I'm never done food except for this startup. So when we build that tech to put the complete ingredient, where it was sourced, everything up, my food tech guys, sir, ये तो मतलब बोलते नहीं, this is our proprietary stuff. This is food. People are paying for it. They need to know where it's coming, how is it the condition. So we put the complete stuff up. People put it, but we are still there, right? So we have to be ahead of the next best innovation. That's what I would put it. We have to be ahead of next best innovation. Yours will get copied in 6 months.
Gaurav?
In a country like India, if you think that no one's going to copy your product, it's impossible. Say you'll have a 6 months headway, a year headway if it's something really unique. But you'll keep seeing something or the other coming in the market in the first few months. As long as your brand speaks for the product and you can capture the customer over and over again, I think it's good to go. But
So I am sometimes worried if somebody doesn't copy you. Maybe the market opportunity is not big enough. So we were one of the first labs to start doing audits, right? And we did that for 2-3 years. Nobody copied us. And then suddenly, in like 6 months' time, 20 other companies, and this I'm talking about 15 years ago, started doing audits, right? So my sales team got really pissed off. They came to me, they're like, what is this? I'm like, first of all, we don't have the rights to audits. Anyone can audit, right? But I said, yeah, if somebody is copying you, that's the best compliment you can get, right? Because who do you copy? You don't copy number 10. You copy number, or somebody who's a leader of the pack, right? And two, if you're not copied, there's something to be worried about. And three, you should innovate faster than they can copy. People are going to copy. You're doing something nice, you're doing something innovative, there's a new industry being formed. For example, when the first kombucha brand got launched, there was only one. Today, how many kombucha brands are there today? Right? There are multiple, right? And it is a growing category. By the way, especially when there's a new category, you want people to copy you because you're growing the category. You're not fighting with each other, you're growing the category, you're growing awareness, right? I'm going to shift gears to,
I would like
yes,
to add
yeah.
one small thing. So a few months back, I was in Madhya Pradesh. They have a retail chain similar to DMart over there. So I was sitting in the management's office. They had their procurement head come see the package. Slowly, I see a designer coming in. Slowly, I see their NPD team come in. Fair enough. They're like, okay, इनका branding देखो, product देखो, अरे taste तो बहुत बढ़िया है. Fair enough. In my head, I understood, okay, now they're on the verge of copying the branding to the product to everything. Cool. Left the conversation. Team still kept following up. Not often, once a month. 6 months later, we received a lovely order from them. Today, we're performing well. We did find out that they copied our branding in a different brand name, but it didn't work. So as long as you know that the product would work, it's fine. There will be people who will come and copy.
Jovita, this question is going to start with you and then roll to others. Today, personal branding plays a very large role in going to market or getting your product popular. What are your thoughts on personal branding?
Lots of thoughts.
I know, that's why I started with you. I know there are a lot of other people who also are the face of the company, but I want to start with you.
I think personal branding, number one, I feel it takes courage. I think it's a little bit, everybody is vulnerable at some stage or the other. It takes a little bit of courage to put yourself out there the way founders do. They put a huge part of their lives out there. They tell people what they do, how much they fail. We talk about our failures. We talk about how we are manufacturing. For example, at Bartisans, we put up things from our kitchen, for example, right? How things are made, our packaging, all of that, right? But I also know that people don't buy product, they buy people. Like they want to connect to you. They want to know who you are. What was your story? Why did you do what you're doing? How can you get your son into an alcohol-related industry? Right? So all of those questions come from people's curiosity, and they eventually, I feel, it's so important for you to be authentic out there, because only then do you really build that connection with people. People know who you are, what you do, for the truth that it is, instead of just putting up a story out there, because this is your life, right? They see what you're doing on a regular basis. So for me and for Bartisans, I think it's extremely important that we stay authentic, that we put ourselves out there. I hate it, but I still do it.
So I know you personally, and it is so good to see that what you are offline and what you're online is exactly the same, right? If you have to put up a face for content, or to put you're a different person online, that's when it starts creating a lot of stress within you, because now you have to be a different person. Like I know her, she's this way in personal life, whatever you see on her videos, she's exactly the same. Josh, what are your thoughts on personal branding?
Yeah, I feel more than anything, we are building startups, right? We are insurgents in large spaces. What else do we have to show the consumer apart from our story? So if you're not doing that, I mean, do it right away. And I think that got validated for me in the biggest way on Shark Tank. When I went with my mom, people started believing the story even more because it was me and my mom making the ice cream at home. So I feel, just don't feel embarrassed about whatever you do, because I used to feel embarrassed about, I've done my engineering, MBA, I worked in a corporate, now I'm making ice creams. So I wouldn't.
From home.
From home, yeah.
You weren't embarrassed about working with your mom, kya? Because Jordan constantly is.
I still am.
So it's so unique with both of them that it's a mom and son who are doing business. I absolutely love that. When it comes to startups, I think the personal branding side is an unfair advantage that you have. Like, for example, if you think of a very large company, let's say I say Unilever, is there a face that comes to your mind? No, right? If I say Whole Truth, is there a face that comes to your mind? Right? I say Two Brothers Organic, is there a face that comes to your mind? I've seen so many brands using that personal branding to get themselves out there, to be remembered. Because today, I think finally people trust people. I mean, yes, you will trust a brand, but it takes much longer. Like all your favorite brands, do you follow the brand on social media or do you follow the person on social media? Most of the time, you actually follow people on social media. Very rarely will you follow brands on social media, right? And when it comes to creating trust, nothing instills more trust than the founder coming on screen and talking about their product, their process, whatever it is. It takes a lot of guts, as she said. It took me 10, 12 years to come out of my shell and be okay with going on social media. Like till now, my team will be like, hey, you should be posting more. I'm like, I'm not going to post my breakfast. I'm not going to post my workout routines, right? Yeah, we'll talk on the podcast. We can do all of that. But there are some things which I'm not comfortable doing, right? And which is perfectly fine. While I know a lot of friends.
I think, Ashwin, I'd like to make a point here. What he does really well is he's always in this black Lacoste t-shirt with grey pants, and that's personal branding for you, right there.
So if Lacoste is hearing, guys, I'm open to Lacoste sponsorships. I'm just putting it out there, right? I think we have time for one last question, and we'll go around the table for this, right? FSSAI today plays a very large role when it comes to all food brands. Are you seeing what role is FSSAI playing in your life? Is it helping you? Is it holding you back? Is it a pain up, in your ass? Sorry. What are your thoughts on FSSAI? We'll just go around the table. Start with you.
It keeps us in check, for sure. And pain in the ass, I would say not really, as long as you're following the book. And yeah.
Okay. As long as you're following the book.
Yeah, I think same here. It's helped us put a lot of processes together. I love that because it compels you to, put things in place. But I still feel FSSAI has a long way to go when it comes to understanding the difference between a startup that is manufacturing and a big industry manufacturing setup, right? There are certain things a small kitchen-based setup like ours may not be able to comply with.
Correct.
And it's, in that sense, not non-compliance, it's just the way it is, right? So I think that kind of grey area is a little tough to kind of handle, but otherwise more good than bad for us, for sure.
Josh?
I feel they've done definitely more good than bad, especially in a category where we're trying to sell healthier desserts, good for you desserts. It becomes very important to abide by what the regulations are, and I think legal metrology and all of that. For a small business, very early on, you don't know a lot of this. So I feel they can do a good job in terms of maybe making a social media account and doing what the food farmer is, right? So yeah, I think that.
So I think over the past few years, what I've realized is that the only way to kind of be a step ahead is to be better prepared, small or a small brand or a big brand, and we do that. That is also something we help our customers with. And I have always envisioned my plant to be, or our plant to be extremely hygienic, extremely, not extremely, but as hygienic as it can get. And not class 100, but like as whatever. My point being that if you're a step ahead, even FSSAI will not be able to trouble you. Let me just put it that way.
Excellent.
I think they need to be fast. Okay, let me be the villain. Now, I'll tell you one example. We started True Elements in 2016 and my NPD lab had one poster, which is still there, waiting for someday to become reality, which is that when we started developing, we had the traffic light guidelines of US and UK put up, hoping that someday traffic light will get implemented in India. When it comes, if your sugar is more than X, it will be shown in red. If your sodium is more than Y, it will be shown in red. And I asked team, let's make product with this guideline. We made the product all these years and we are still waiting for that to come in. So what I'm trying to tell is, they have their limitations, but something which is must to have should be done faster, right? This is long due, right? Whoever is not letting them have their free hand need to be addressed. So I think they are now busy with compliance and hygiene stuff that's required. But future will not be achieved by doing hygiene stuff. It has to be visionary stuff like this. That's where it has to be faster.
Love it.
I can go long on this. They have evolved a lot, but there is a need of a lot. That's what I can say.
Love it. So my relation with FSSAI started almost from its inception. So I'm a national advisor to FSSAI today. It's been about 7 years. And the beauty, I think, so there are a lot of lacunas, but let me talk about what they're doing really well. The beauty is, since it's a very young law, it is still very malleable. What that means is it still can be changed, it can be updated. They are also learning. I was talking to a friend of mine who runs a kombucha brand, and I was telling, he was like, hey, there are not too many regulations around kombucha. I was like, why don't you write them and submit them? Let's see what we can do, right? So the beauty, since it's a young brand, it is, constantly evolving. When it comes to traffic light, I think the one good thing, front of pack labeling is coming now, especially with the ABCD. That's coming up soon. So hopefully in the next 6 months, we should be seeing that in India. And that's such an easy way for people to understand whether what I'm about to consume is healthy or not. I was with my daughter in another country in France, and I wanted to make them some food. So we went to a shop, and I was like, hey, why don't you go pick up pasta that you want? She picked one up, she looked at it, she put it back, she picked up the next one, and she put it in the cart. I was like, what did you look at? Like, in 3 seconds, obviously she didn't read the entire label. So she's like, oh, the first one was C and the second one was A. Obviously A is better than C. That's it. I've not taught her anything more. Yes, being my daughter, she should be able to read the full label and all that, but she's 10. That time she was 8, right? But just that simple A, B, C, D, without any knowledge, she was able to determine that, hey, this is healthier for me, right? And I think our country deserves that, and I'm glad to tell you that this is coming very, very soon, and it is going to affect all you guys. If you have products, if you have manufacturers, it is going to be affecting you, and hopefully in a good way. Whenever regulation like this comes, a lot of people come and tell me like, oh, this is actually going to be bad. Like, for example, the regulation of if you have more than 10 restaurants, you need to put a nutrition information of all your recipes. This was the regulation that came. A lot of food, restaurant owners came to me like, hey, what kind of regulation is this? I was like, do you see the opportunity in this? They were like, no, we don't. Then I actually spelt out an opportunity. I'm like, if somebody is willing to eat healthier, they're willing to pay more. And they were like, oh. So many of them went back, and 2 months later, 3 months later, when I went to the restaurants, they actually had a healthier section, which they charged 20-30% more, and they were able to make a lot more money on that. So whenever there is an adversity, wherever there are problems, there are always hidden opportunities if you look for them, right? That brings me to the end of our panel. I would love to open it up for you guys. If you have any questions, there's so many people with so much experience sitting with me. Please, I would love for you to ask. Yes. Can we get a mic to her? Yes, of course. Thank you.
Hi, indeed, it was a very interesting conversation to hear. And this is a question now that we are talking about contract manufacturing here, right? For startups, whenever they approach contract manufacturers, the first thing I'm sure a lot of us here in the audience would also feel, the quantities are quite high, even if you want to do beta testing. Though I've been to multiple contract manufacturers, and trust me, a lot of them who have worked with Srijit, they love you. I don't know why. I really need to know what's that magic.
Nice.
Because they give reference about it. But however, the first thing that they push you back, even if you come up with an amazing concept, you've done your research, you've done your trials, the first pushback is you get me 10 tons or you give me the annual playbook of how you're going to play it out. And if you want to come up with multiple products, even if it's 3 products, sometimes when you're bootstrapped, it is very difficult. Could you share your journey or an advice how one should look at it?
So as a startup, we also face the same problem. Although we are into private label food and beverage manufacturing space, but we don't own any manufacturing. And when people like you approach us, the first question they ask is MOQ. He said being bootstrapped is a challenge, but after being 5 years into the business, we have left this challenge and now we are trying to overcome this. So from October onwards, we can help any beverage brand launch their beverage with as small as 1,000 cans. So the upfront investment goes low, or 1,000 bottles, whatever you want to start with. So that's a challenge we have lived and most of them have lived. So that's where we feel that a solution.
But what was the magic that you did?
Because it's a very simple thing. They come up, we meet 50 players who come with requests, and rightly so. Everyone has a filtration process.
See, it's a problem that I have lived individually, so I need to look out for a solution out of the box. So to have the same hygienic manufacturing, the way you are manufacturing 10,000 cans or 100,000 cans. So we sit out with a manufacturer in US, we designed that line. So whether you are manufacturing 500 cans or 5,000 cans or 5 lakh cans, the process is going to be untouched by humans. So, and coming from the background of R&D, it has helped me to evolve faster.
I would just like to add here. So he comes from a beverage background. I also come from a beverage background. And in his case, the IP is with him. In my case, the IP is with the customer. So especially when brands want to come up with something innovative and there are brand holders who have these innovative ideas, there is an option of a pilot scale test, which we provide. So it is literally vetted as if the product is commercial grade in our lab, which it has the same machinery as a regular commercial plant, but in a lab scale or pilot scale model. And we have figured that it has helped avoid major issues when you're taking commercial runs. Otherwise, whenever you take commercial runs, you'll have to take not for sale. Huge batches tend to go waste. So that is something that we have worked out for our customers. They can try multiple flavors and decide amongst which they want to take bigger batches in. Sometimes we do multiple, like he said, multiple SKUs in a day or multiple flavors in a day, so it's basically pretty situational. So depending on the situation, depending on the client, it's a customized solution is provided, but I'm sure every co-packer is working hard to meet all startup needs.
Can I give you a personal thing? So I've been there, done that. We do a beverage brand packed in a glass bottle. And if you approached any glass manufacturer, minimum quantity to a bottle is 6 lakh bottles. When you're starting up, where are you going to even, impossible, right? So what we did was we went to a bottle trader, picked up a bottle that was a generic bottle, but started the brand nonetheless. It was an ugly bottle. We hated it. But you know what? At least it got us started. It was not perfect, but it got us to a point till I found a manufacturer who didn't do 6 lakhs, but he did 1 lakh bottles. But I was able to order that 1 lakh bottles. But I think as a founder and as a startup founder, you probably need to step back a little bit and say, hey, can I compromise on this? Because there isn't an option here. I wouldn't have been able to do it, but at least in this way I did it. So, I don't know what you do, but if there is an option of you kind of stepping back and saying, hey, can I, cut this down and just live with it for now, but start nonetheless. Don't let it stop you from starting.
So we had a similar problem as well. Getting from premixes, we enter the snack market. We are looking at minimum 75,000 rolls in a cylinder to be made. Finding a manufacturer is also like a co-founder. That guy should be able to have the same vision. It's not just making packets. Today it might be a small consignment, but tomorrow you might need an overnight new product coming out, say a fast launch or expedited delivery. So all these factors are really important. So initially, even if you have to pay a little more and your margins go down, which is fine for the start because at least you'll know your product is working well in the market. Once you have all those factors checked, then you can always get into your cylinders or whatever your product might be in that perspective and then get into large manufacturing.
Thank you, that helps.
I think we have time for one more question because this thing is flashing overtime. So I'm going to keep it to one more question. Mine.
Good afternoon.
Good
So FMCG business is highly competitive, and to get into this business, you need innovation. All the founders are here, so I want to know directly from you, how much do you spend on innovation? Srijit in between mentioned that he has a NPD lab, but for a young startup, may not afford a food lab right in the beginning. So how to go about innovation? How much to spend? Give me some guidance on that.
I don't know, is there a percentage match you can put for how much percentage is innovation? Now what we do is, so again, I told I'm not a food tech person, but starting till probably 2017, 2018, 19, I was the food tech guy and everything was done by me. So you can't put number to it. It's only that is what category are you in? If you are in, let's say, in food, and in food, again, if you are going to be just a staples kind of category, then you don't need much of innovation. But if you are going to be defined by innovation, if a brand is going to stand on innovation, then you need to invest in the initial leg a lot of time. I would not put resources because we don't jugaad, right? Can you get some mentor for free? Can you get interns work from some good like I hire Symbiosis postgraduate nutrition and food tech guys. Well, 5,000 rupees 2 months and you're done for it. You keep doing that every summer, right? So over a period of 5-6 years, you have so much built up. So I will not tell them spend a lot of money, because spending money everybody can do. What others can't do is your passion and your time putting in. So I would not put a number to it, but your maximum time in the initial leg has to go in there. Otherwise, your differentiator may not even last 6 months. I don't know. I don't think I'm not convinced with the answer. Yeah, if somebody can add in, because that's a very 13,000 feet kind of a answer.
No? You had one last question. Yeah.
Siddharth mentioned something about clean labels, and you said, people are, they're putting out their trackability, traceability, and everything. But I run a fermented food and beverage brand, and I read labels all the time. Like he said, ABC. Now, if you see ABC, that's okay. And just because you're writing what's in the bottle does not make it clean. What do you mean by a clean label? Clean label, as I understand from a layman perspective, I'm not from a food and beverage background as such. I understand if this is not natural, if this is going to harm my body in a long run or a short run or whatever, it is not clean. That's how I understand. But is this how you look at it when you're saying a label is clean, that you can trace it, track it, and if you're using, say, sodium benzoate, which is actually a preservative, it kills all the life inside the beverage, or for example, just because you're writing it on the label does not mean, because most of the consumers, they're looking at the branding, the marketing. I know a very popular brand which basically means that this is going to be alive and full of good bacteria, etc., but uses a sodium benzoate, which actually is killing everything inside. How is it clean? And everyone I talk to, my customers, they come back, oh, we are using this brand. I'm like, have you read the label? They're like, oh, damn. We haven't. Because they're so intrigued by the famous celebrities endorsing that brand, nobody is reading the bloody label. And that's a big problem. So clean label kaise hua, yaar? Just because you're writing it there does not make it clean. And that's the awareness that Food Pharma was talking about. Why is FSSAI not questioning it? Why are they letting it happen? Legal metrology is one thing half the startups don't know about. But FSSAI to jante hain, FSSAI is helpful. FSSAI is creating a lot of platform, etc. They're saying drink kanji, don't drink soda, cola, whatever. Why can't they say that? You can't say you are this brand with your marketing whilst putting sodium benzoate in your beverage. Because not only it's killing something in the beverage, it's also killing something in your body when it enters it. So how do you say clean label? Like, how would you define clean label, clean label?
See, there are many definitions of a clean label food. If you go as per FSSAI, it needs to be without any E-code. And I would like to contradict your thought of consuming natural things. If you consume excess of anything, it will be bad for your body, whether it's natural or artificial. It doesn't mean everything has to be in moderate quantities. And FSSAI as a regulator doesn't go out loud and open and advertise that this is going to be bad, or because they are not a marketing agency or a company where they're going to tell you what to consume, what not to consume. But as a clean label definition, from a regulatory point of view, if it doesn't have any kind of a E-code on the label, then it's a clean label product. And the definition holds true in US, Europe, France, everywhere in the globe.
Just to give a context, don't kill me. Oats. I want to ask you, do you consider it to be healthy or unhealthy?
Fiber-wise, yes, but sugar spike, etc. wise versus no. I would moderate it, but I'm a conscious
Yes
consumer.
or no?
No,
Yes
it's not a, yes. I mean, in general, most people would
Most
consider
people
it yes.
consider it to be healthy.
Healthy, yes.
FSSAI considers it to be healthy. One of the most popular Instagram handle is Glucose Goddess. Have you heard about her? She says you should not have oats for breakfast because, like you said, it causes a glucose spike and an insulin spike. And I want to kind of corroborate what he's saying. It is very difficult to define what a clean label is. What a clean label for an Indian consumer, for example, an Indian family or an Indian consumer, regular Indian consumer, for him or her, oats can be a really good, nutritious meal. But for someone who is insulin sensitive, it is not. So I feel that there is a little bit of gray area.
Oats is going to be healthy, but the problem here is not the oats. It's the balancing of the meal that's a problem. You're completely omitting the protein part of it and the fat part of it. You're focusing on carbs, and carbs which are going to spike your insulin faster than other sources perhaps.
But that doesn't make
is the
oats.
problem.
That doesn't make oats.
We never said oats was bad. Balance was a problem. But sodium benzoate as a chemical is a bad thing in general. We're not talking a naturally growing substance from a chemically lab-made substance. They're two different things. Cheese and chalk, right? I'm saying yes, but clean label, when we say a clean label should be something I can give it to my kids without thinking twice, like a A, right? If I had to pick, I would pick an A any day of the week, right? That's what I'm saying. So how clean label is not necessarily clean label just because you're saying everything is on the label, because your branding and marketing is definitely going against it. Like you're not talking about it. You're not saying, hey, we put sodium benzoate and let's go for it.
I was going to kind of add to that. Luke Coutinho is also another nutritionist. And I don't know, a couple of months back, he basically asked a lot of organic brands to send their traceability reports and everything. I think about 10, 12 brands that went to him. He said that I was only able to vet with all the credibility 1 or 2 brands. So in India, it is a little sketchy, and I'm sure he'll ask you to write to FSSAI since you feel so strongly about it, and they'll work on it.
So first of all, I really like the fact that when you were saying FSSAI, he was pointing to me. I am not FSSAI. Point number 1. Point number 2, I have to appreciate one thing, that out of a lot of the food founders I've spoken to, most of them don't have a food background. So I think one big round of applause for all food founders who are not from food background, guys, and you all are still killing it. We are way over time. Sorry for that, guys. First of all, thank all of the panelists for taking out that time, coming here. It was amazing meeting all of you. You guys have spent over an hour listening to all of them. There is like a deck, about a century of knowledge sitting right here. You and me both, right? A century of knowledge sitting right here. I hope that you all have learned something, at least one thing new, maybe a new thought, a new idea, something you can take back. Please do take it back. Please apply it in your business or in life and help, get better. Thank you so much, all of you. A big round of applause for all of them, guys, please.
I must say that was indeed an extremely thought-provoking and interesting session. So once again, a huge round of applause to our entire panelists on stage. We have a small token of appreciation for each of you, requesting Hazel from CMPL to please come on stage and do the honors. Firstly, a big thank you to Ashwin for moderating that session. We have experts here on stage who actually shared with us their expertise. So thank you so much for giving in your precious time. Please do not leave. You have to applaud. Firstly to Ashwin. Come on, a huge round of applause, please. Next we have Gaurav. Thank you, Gaurav. I can only hear 4 people clapping. What happened to the rest? Jovita. Josh. Kinnari. Srijit. And Siddharth. This was our biggest panel for the day, in fact, 7-member panel. So huge round of applause for them, please. Can we mark this moment with a group photograph, please? So can we all come ahead for a group photograph? Once again, a huge round of applause for them, please. Please do not leave, ladies and gentlemen. We have one more session.